Finding an activity to do with your child that challenges and pushes you both to be better, that builds character, and is something you can learn together is a fantastic thing.
At Okamikai Martial Arts and Fitness, we thrive on positive feedback from our students, so you can just imagine how happy we were to hear from Jessica and her daughters as they gave their thoughts about our classes.
Classes are always fun, and I always learn something new.
Fun and learning, all while getting out and getting active. That's one of our goals, and according to these amazing ladies, we're doing our job and doing it well.
I see the excitement and the joy that they have to go to class to learn and improve.
Contact us today to find out what everyone is talking about. Our family can't wait to meet your family.
Okamikai is my favorite place to be.
Okamikai Martial Arts and Fitness. Check us out at okamikai.com.
Everything is my favorite thing to do in class.
Welcome to the Okamikai Chronicles, a podcast devoted to not only the students at Okamikai Martial Arts and Fitness, but also to the fans of our school and maybe even other instructors who are curious about what's happening in our small area of the martial arts industry. I'm Neveu-Campsall, and I'm the chief instructor at Okamikai, which is located in Uxbridge, Ontario, Canada. On January 23rd, my wife, Sensei Jennifer Neveu-Campsall, and I were interviewed by Gary Legacy, Shaun Benson, Randy Dauphin, and Nicklaus Suino on a popular martial arts podcast called Punch, Kick, Choke, Chat. The entire episode can be found on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, but we have posted their popular 10 questions feature that they did with us here. Punch, Kick, Choke, Chat has interviewed several high-ranking and influential martial artists. Many are not only my friends, but they're also my mentors. To be included on this guest list was a great honor. If you want to know a lot about us, listen to the episode. If you only want to know a little, well, then here are our answers to their 10 questions.
Are you ready for our 10 questions? It's effectively going to be 20 questions, but it's 10 questions each. Now, normally we give 10-minute time limit. We're going to expand that. We've actually been chatting behind the scenes, and the judges have made an allowance. Between the two of you, you can have 15 minutes for your 10 questions.
Hey, Yappy. Okay.
So, generally speaking, we say answer as impulsively as you can, but then feel free to expand on your answer. So,
Timer's on. Okay.
Timer's on. It is running. So let's start with you, Sensei Jennifer, and then we'll just go ping, ping, ping. You get it. Starting with you, what is the most effective move in your martial arts arsenal?
My kindness.
That was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're not even elaborating. Okay.
No.
My ability, my ability to understand go no sen, sen no sen, and sen sen no sen. So in other words, go no sen, I can block an attack that's coming at me, but then I counter. Sen no sen, I block and counter at the same time. Sen sen no sen, I attack before the attack comes at me. And my best example of using all three is there's a local florist in town. Their name's Keith's Flowers, and they have a subscription service for flowers. And so once a month, my wife gets flowers, okay? So go no sen. If I do something stupid, okay, those flowers will be the thing that hopefully wins her heart again, okay? Sen no sen. At the same moment, when she gets those flowers, maybe everything's in a good thing, everything's going well, fine, we're clicking together, everything's going really well. Sen no sen, when I screw up, she's going to have those flowers and she's going to go, wow, I can't get mad at him. He's got those beautiful flowers once a month. So there we go.
Okay, so starting with you, Shihan, who is the most influential martial artist in your life?
So happy to have so many instructors. Haji Bukowski is so amazing. Robert Mustard, Kevin Block, Alan Saee. I'm not using titles because I've only got 15 minutes. If I was going to pick the most influential martial artist in my life, you're looking at her. It's my wife. I bounce everything off of her. We talk all the time. Wake up in the morning, we're talking martial arts or life, and she gives me martial arts guidance. At night, we go to bed and all day. She's the person I bounce all my thoughts and ideas off of.
Thanks for that. Sensei Jennifer, who's the most influential martial artist in your life?
So now you said all
that was an example of the flowers. That right? was the preemptive flowers right there.
I know, right? I am so blessed to have been introduced to so many incredible high-ranking instructors. as a white belt, Shihan Scott took me out to Quebec to a training camp out there where, on my very first training camp, we get to fly home Hashi Sai and have him stay at our house. And I've been so blessed and lucky because of what Scott has given me to be able to meet all of you and to train with Hanshi Burkowski. Hanshi Burkowski was the best man at our wedding. But for that reason alone, it's my husband. He's the most influential martial artist in my life, and he's my teacher, and I respect him immensely.
Sensei Jennifer, who's the most influential martial artist of all time and why?
So the truth is, I'm really bad with names, and this is even true with music. So if you were to say to me, who's the best opera singer of all time, or who's the best, I don't have names for you. I would say that, anybody who my peers would look up to and who would value, I would say would be in the considerable list of top 3.
And going to you, Shihan, who do you think is the most influential martial artist of all time and why?
Before the 80s, Bruce Lee. And I know that's a pretty popular answer on here. After the 80s, Robert Kamen. Robert Kamen wrote the Karate Kid movie. And I think that totally revolutionized the demographic of who was teaching martial art or who was taking martial arts classes.
Right on. Shihan, what excites you most about the next 5 years of your training?
Rekindling my love for the martial arts. After COVID, I got pretty bitter about martial arts. Leading into the pandemic, 1 week you're getting told you're changing a child's life. The next week you're getting told you're non-essential. And so even coming out of the pandemic, there was a lot where I said, I'm not going to go to this event. I'm not doing the seminar. I'm not teaching. Because what I found was that it was our students that got us through it. And so to stay home and teach and look after them and look after our own livelihood, that became the top priority. And lately, over the last couple of years, I've started, or the last year or so, I guess, I started really falling in love with the people again, really falling in love with the martial arts. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I'm on this call with you guys. It's been a long road back. So I'm looking forward to the next 5 years of becoming even more infatuated with the thing that I got involved with right from the beginning.
Sensei Jennifer, what excites you most about the next 5 years of your training?
Well, like you, Sensei Benson, I recently turned 50. And that's, no small undertaking for anybody. I think as a woman, there's a whole other stage in my life that I'm heading into. I know that as an athlete, I'm not moving the same way as I did 10 years ago. And I think for the next 5 years, I'm excited to see what I can get done as a woman in her 50s.
Love that. Sensei Jennifer, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you get there?
Oh, thanks. Now, I think I'd just like him to say, your mom and dad are over here. That's all.
That was my answer too. Shihan, what would you like to hear God say if heaven exists when you get there?
Okay, so I need you to know, we know your 10 questions because we've seen these episodes. All right. So we sort of prepped, not totally. We never prepped with each other. Okay. So we never said, what are you going to say or whatever. I think there was a brief moment where we had a small conversation. So I didn't know that was going to be your answer. My answer is very much the same. My answer would be, I know you have a lot of questions. We're going to get to that, but your mother's over there and she's been waiting so long to give you a hug and tell you she's proud of you.
Shihan, do you have a favorite film, TV martial artist, even if they're not actually great in real life?
I'm so late to the party on this, but I really like the John Wick stuff. I just recently watched it, and I think Keanu Reeves and the creativity in the martial arts and the fight scenes are it's amazing.
Love that. Sensei Jennifer, what is your favorite film or TV martial artist, whether they're a great martial artist in real life or not?
So like I said, I'm not great with names with that stuff, but what really impresses me are the female stunt actresses like Lucy Liu and, those gals that just kick ass harder than the men do. And so many of them are just behind the scenes stunt women. And for them to be working at that level in film with that level of training and athleticism, that just blows my mind.
I love that. And this isn't my 10 questions, but hands down, my favorite action movie is the two Kill Bills. And that's Lucy Liu, that's Uma Thurman, that's some ass kicking ladies right there. And that's
we got another minute because Shaun just took one of our time.
I'm sorry, I get
just
free
took some
minute.
time.
It's the gift of hosting. I could take your next 7 minutes and there'd be no one you could talk to about it. I'm sorry.
I'm going to take the next 30 seconds. If you haven't, Sensei Jen, if you haven't yet watched our episode with Lori O'Connell, she does stunt work, and she's also a badass woman. So check that.
For sure. Thank you. I just wrote it down. Thank you.
Check the archives. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to give you one extra minute because Sensei Suino and Sensei Benson can't step on your stuff. So
yeah, I got to be honest, Sensei Suino, you really carried on there a bit. So
yeah, I did talk a lot, didn't I?
You really did. Sensei Jennifer, is there a martial artist, living or dead, in all of recorded history that you'd like to train with the most?
You know what? And maybe this just sounds, no, it doesn't sound silly. I have a really big girl crush on Katie Murphy. And I think she's been a guest on your show, and if she hasn't yet been, you need to look that one up. So I've seen her teach in Greece and at Capital Conquest as well, and she's a Krav Maga specialist and a karate. What is she, a 6th dan, 7th dan? And I think she's pretty awesome. And I love the way she moves. I love the way she teaches. I love how strong she is. So if I could spend one-on-one time with Katie, I would dig that.
Shihan Scott, is there a martial artist, living or dead, in all recorded history you'd like to train with the most?
I like this question because you said, who I want to train with the most. So learn from Kinjo Masakazu Sensei. He's passed away now. Hanshi Burkowski was really close with him. I did a couple of classes with him, and I just love his personality. I was lucky enough, I was able to take him and his sons to the CN Tower for lunch when they were here one time. And he just such a kind-hearted man, and his skill level is off the charts, or was off the charts. And Haji Burkowski deeply loved the man, and I would love to have more time to spend getting to know him and why Haji Burkowski loved him so much. But when training with my son got his black belt, and typical dad, I didn't want him to have to get into the family business or force him to get into it. We had this dangling carrot of, you can't quit till you get your black belt. He got his black belt, then he quit. And but anytime he does come out, we did some stuff during the pandemic. He did some Brazilian jiu-jitsu with me. I love training with my son.
That's fantastic. Shihan, if everyone in the world could have the greatest benefit you've gotten from martial arts, whether they train or not, what benefit would they be getting?
Resilience. So I was diagnosed with colon cancer when I was 35. And I can't tell you how many episodes there were going through the chemo and the surgery and everything where I remember looking for the ways that I could fight my way through it mentally. And it was all martial arts training.
Glad you got through that.
Thank you.
Sensei Jennifer, if everyone in the world could have the greatest benefit you've gotten from martial arts, whether they're a martial artist or not, what do they get?
I would say actually exactly the same answer. During each of my black belt gradings, my hardest thing was getting out of my own head. And, you come across as the tough chick, and meanwhile, the battle inside the whole time is, I can't. Meanwhile, you got to push through to the I can. So if you can find that level of resilience in every aspect of your life, pushing through the I can. And that's why, going back to when I said my fitness class members who are in their 60s and their 70s, and they've got that in spades in terms of their I can. And that, I love that for them, and I keep striving every day to find it in myself.
Sensei Jennifer, our last two questions come as a pair. What is your greatest achievement, and what is your greatest regret?
My greatest achievement, I would say, number one, my children. Very proud of all my girls and my stepson as well. And to add to that, in terms of achievement, I'm really proud of what I've given our community as a teacher, as a musician, as a conductor, and as a martial artist in our school. We have a very small community here in Uxbridge, and where, you know, we might be big fish in a small pond, I'm very grateful to have been able to connect and touch the lives in the way that I have. I'm keenly aware of the gifts and the talents that I do and that I don't have, math. And the things that I can do well, I like to share, and I'm really proud of that. My greatest regret, I would say, having gone through a couple of divorces, how those have negatively affected my children. That's absolutely my greatest regret.
Thanks for that. Shihan, our last two questions come as a pair. What is your greatest achievement and your greatest regret?
Greatest achievement, I have a 21-year-old son who I think is not a jerk. Nobody's told me that he is anyway, and he's very kind-hearted, and I think he's a fine, upstanding man. And I don't always agree with all of his choices, but at the same time, I'm pretty proud of him. Greatest regret, I have two regrets. It's almost the same line as Jennifer. I would never give up my life with her, but I am divorced, and that hurt my son, and it hurt a lot of people. And I wish there was a way I could have done that without hurting so many. I'm very happy now. My life is good. My son and Jennifer get along, and he's actually flat. I've had that conversation with him, and he's told me, "No, Dad, things are good," and I'm thankful for that. It was time. My other one is I didn't spend enough time with my mother while she was alive. There's times where that's a big regret. So if your parents are still alive, spend every minute you have with them.
Thank you so much for those 10 questions. Now, before we evaluate your answers, we need to see how you did with time. Sensei Dauphin, how'd they do with time?
Well, despite you and Suino Sensei stepping on their time, they have 39 seconds to spare. I didn't have to give them any extra time.
So I wanted to mention something before we.
I was actually going to say, Sensei Benson, your question to Shihan Scott originally when you said, what has martial arts given you? And your answer was resilience. I swear I thought he said Brazilians.
I thought he said Brazilians too.
Right. Okay, thanks. I was like, where is he going with this?
Yeah. I think I even said resilience to clarify for myself.
Right.
Because I
didn't know what kind of Brazilian he was talking about.
I honestly thought you were talking about going down to get medical treatments in Brazil that aren't available in North America. And as I was listening, I was waiting to see where we were going.
I had you counting this for a minute, though, didn't I?
Listen, we're counting this against your 15 minutes.
That's okay. All good. Brazilians.
I'm actually going to say, for the record, we've had guests on, and in their 10 minutes, they've done it in 6, and that sort of garners an applause. I think this is like Price is Right. Like, you want to be as close to your time without going over, so we get a nicely fleshed out. And I think, not necessarily the content, but the execution, I'm going to give you 10 out of 10 for this. Ooh. Yeah. And also, I got married last year, and we did a game in France where you had to sit back to back and hold up answers to questions, and you'd see how compatible you are. Now, this isn't about your questions being similar, but it's pretty obvious why you two get along.
This has been a Campsall Broadcasting production. Truth is, resilience is a great benefit to learning martial arts. But I have met some nice people from Brazil too.